Sermon on Matthew 1 8-25. Matthew 1 8-25 records the circumstances surrounding the birth of Jesus the Messiah and reveals the divine initiative by which God brought about the fulfillment of his covenant promises to Israel. The passage stands at the intersection of promise and fulfillment, showing that the long awaited king entered history not by human effort, lineage alone, or the will of man, but by the direct action of God. Matthew writes, "Now the birth of Jesus Christ was as follows. After his mother Mary was betrothed to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Spirit." The betrothal period in Jewish culture was legally binding, though the marriage had not yet been consummated. When Mary was discovered to be pregnant, Joseph faced what appeared to be a scandal that could bring severe social and legal consequences. Joseph is described as a just man. His righteousness is demonstrated not through harsh enforcement of the law, but through mercy. Rather than expose Mary to public shame, he resolved to divorce her quietly. Yet before Joseph could act, divine revelation intervened. The angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream saying, "Joseph, son of David, do not be afraid to take to you Mary your wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Spirit." The address son of David is significant. It reminds Joseph of his place within the Davidic line through which the promised king would come. The child Mary was not the result of human initiative, but the work of the Spirit of God, indicating that this birth was the direct fulfillment of God's covenant purposes. The angel continued, "And she will bring forth a son, and you shall call his name Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins." The name Jesus, derived from the Hebrew Yeshua, means Yahweh saves. The statement that he would save his people identifies the immediate covenantal focus of his mission. The promise was directed toward the people to whom the covenants, the law, and the prophets were given. Matthew then explains the deeper significance of these events. "So all this was done, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Behold, the virgin shall be with child, and bear a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel," which is translated, "God with us." Here Matthew cites Isaiah 7:14, connecting the birth of Jesus with prophetic expectation. The child born of the virgin would embody the presence of God among his covenant people. The name Emmanuel does not merely describe a theological idea. It declares that in this child, God himself had come into the midst of his people to accomplish redemption. Joseph responded in obedience to the revelation he received. Matthew records that Joseph awoke from his sleep and did as the angel commanded him. He took Mary as his wife, but did not know her until she had brought forth her firstborn son. In this act, Joseph safeguarded the testimony that the child's conception was entirely the work of God. Finally, Joseph called the child's name Jesus, just as the angel had instructed. In doing so, he legally received the child into the line of David, establishing Jesus' rightful place within the royal genealogy that Matthew had just presented earlier in the chapter. This passage reveals that the arrival of Jesus was not accidental, nor merely symbolic. His birth marked the decisive moment when the promises spoken through the prophets began reaching their fulfillment. The child born of Mary entered the world with a specific mission: to bring salvation by removing the sins that separated the covenant people from God. The narrative also emphasizes that this salvation originates entirely with God. The conception by the Holy Spirit, the fulfillment of prophecy, and the naming of the child all demonstrate that redemption is initiated and accomplished by divine grace rather than human striving. Thus, Matthew presents the birth of Jesus as the unfolding of God's covenant faithfulness. The promised Son of David had come, conceived by the Spirit, born of a virgin, and named as the one through whom the salvation of God would be revealed. In him, the presence of God had drawn near to his people, fulfilling what the prophets had long foretold.